Hello everyone. So from today we are going to start our HTML series, that is hypertext markup language, and this is the language foundation language that renders in the browser. It describes the structure of any web page. So we will see about the HTML in depth, step by step. So let's start with the introduction, like what HTML is and why do we need it, use it. First thing, it is important to understand what is HTML. So HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Okay. So hypertext means text with links. It's simply like it links to any other pages or any other resources that is not even a part of your HTML project, I should say. So if we are using, we can use links that can lead to any other HTML page or any other resources. Markup, tags that format the content. So markup is a very important thing. Like whatever we see in our HTML page, the structure of the page, it all's due to the tags. So we will see that in depth about the tags. So it simply organize and structure your web page using the tags. So it creates the tags used to create the HTML elements that simply renders in the browser. Language is basically a set of rules to communicate with the browser. So there are some, I should say, some kind of principles or rules that you need to take care whenever you are writing the HTML code. For example, the tags should use the doc type. You should use the head tag for the meta tags if you have used any, and semantic things. So we will see these things in detail in the upcoming lectures. So yeah, as I told you, it is the structure, it is the skeleton of the web page. So whatever you see, the HTML that creates the structures your web page. So it tells the browser how to display the content like text, images, or link. Like in any web page, that it consists of different kinds of tags. Let's to show the text, images, links, videos, audios, these things. So these all are HTML elements that we see in any web page. So a web page with text and a link made it possible by HTML. So now the next part is why it is important. Why do we need to understand? Why do we need to learn HTML? So it is the foundation of any web page, any website that you see in the web browser. It uses the HTML. So let me tell you one most important thing. Any web page, even though it uses any single page, frameworks, or anything, behind the scene, it converts to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That is the only thing that renders in the browser. So the next thing, why it is important, we it helps to organize the contents. Okay, it helps to structure the text, images, and the videos. These are just an example: text, images, and videos. So we have also heading tags, paragraph tags, and there's many more things like tables, these things. So we'll see this. Next is the hyperlinks. I already told you that it helps to connect the pages and the resources. Any URL you can pass to it. You can use the anchor tag. We will see that. So using that, we pass the source and we can link it to that. href, sorry, not the source, href. We pass the href that will help you to route to any other pages or the internal pages. So language, a set of rules, I already told that we use it using the tags and all those things. Also the device compatibility. So if you write your HTML code, it will work same for every devices, desktop, mobiles, and tablets. But like there are also few things like sometimes if there is something new that is being implemented in HTML, so sometimes it is not compatible based on the browser. There is no issue with the devices, but in some cases, based on the browser, a few things you can check it, like which tags are you can able to show or you can able to implement based on the browser. And it is also SEO friendly. So we use the meta tags, and also we use the semantics that help to organize your page, that helps in the SEO. So we see in the Google ranking. So it uses the meta tags. We pass the descriptions, titles, and these things. It helps to rank your pages. It is a universal language supported by all browser. Okay. So once you write your HTML code, it will be supported in every browser. So how does HTML works? So we understand what it is. Why do we need it? Now let's understand how does it works. So it uses the tags. Okay. So HTML uses tags that helps to, that renders in your browser. Like we have different kinds of tag, like the p tag for the paragraph, image tag, img tags for the images, enclosed in an angle bracket. Okay, so if you see this, this is the opening tag, and inside of this, like here, element tag. And most tags have opening tag and closing tag both, but in some cases, like for example, if you see the for the images, it do not have any closing tag. Okay, so it uses the both the opening and the closing tag as a part of HTML elements. So what does it, how it renders to the browser? So it reads the HTML file and displays the content accordingly. Okay, so it interprets basically inside the, I mean, behind the scene, what happens, the browser interprets that HTML file and it displays the content accordingly in the browser. Let's understand how it happens, how it loads in the browser. So HTML is the language of the web that provides the structure to the web content. I already told you, like we use the tags, HTML elements that helps to structure your web page. So it uses the tags to define the elements like heading and paragraph, images and links. So it uses the HTML tags to define the elements, heading, paragraph, images and links. Okay. So whatever the elements we see in the web browser, it uses the tags to render in the browser. So I already told that most tags having the opening and the closing, most of the HTML elements have the opening and the closing tags. And what it does, like the browser interprets these tags to display the content. So let me summarize it. Like what happens, you have written a HTML file, okay? And inside of that, you have used the tags and some content inside of this, and you tries to load it in the browser. So what happens, the browser interprets that complete HTML file and interprets those tags that you have written in it, and then it finally displays the content in the web browser. So how it loads in the browser from the servers, because HTML and these things are the client side, it renders in the client side, but these files are kept on any server. From there it loads in your browser. So when you open a web page, some steps happens. Okay, so you type a URL. For example, you type www.google.com. Okay, and once you type the URL and enter, okay, so your browser, the client side, your web browser, it sends a request to the server, and from there the server responds with a HTML file and other resources. It depends, like as the basic for now, understand, it loads that particular HTML file. So the HTML also includes with, contains the styling for styling the CSS file, and for the interactivity, it uses the JavaScript. So once the server responds with that HTML file, the browser receives that file and starts rendering that page. Okay. So what happened? You open a web page, you type the URL, you hit enter, the browser sends the request to the web server, the server responds with that particular HTML file. Okay. And it receives the file, the browser receives the file and starts rendering that page. So parsing the HTML. So browsers parse, read and analyze the HTML file from top to bottom. How it analyzes the code from top to bottom, from the line 1 till the last line of the code. Okay. And it builds a structure called the DOM. Okay. So let's understand DOM first. Okay. Document object model. So I have an image for you. So here, see, here is the document. Okay. The complete your HTML file. It contains the root element. Okay. And that is the HTML. Okay. It also has the closing tag. And then we have some head tag, which consists of the title tags or the meta tags. You will see that. Then the body, the content that renders in the browser, that you see in the browser. So it can have different tags. Okay, like the anchor tag here, you see the h1 tag and these things. Okay, so that was the structure of any HTML document. DOM represents the content and structure of the web page in a tree format. Okay, I already show you some element inside of that, some element. So this way, so it renders in that way in the browser. So each HTML element becomes a node in the DOM tree. Okay, so suppose you have the root element as an HTML, and inside of that you have a div, suppose, for example, and inside of that you have a h1 tag, some p tags. So inside of that, what it does, like it creates a node of that element in the DOM tree. So rendering the page, how it renders in the browser. So it is mostly related to the layout, styling, the behavior, and these things. How the HTML file is showing in the web browser, how the CSS are getting applied, how the interactivity, for example, suppose clicked on a particular button, so how it executes, what exactly the interactivity, what functions are getting loaded. So these we will try to understand. So the browser processes the DOM tree along with the styles and script. So I already told you that with the HTML, there could be stylings, CSS, and the interactivity, something like clicking of a button, adding a new node, adding a new element, removing some element. So these interactivity are is to be done using the JavaScript. So what happens like, so it first determines the layout, how the elements are arranged on the screen. So I already told you it renders from top to bottom. For example, if you have some header tags, it will render that, some paragraphs, some tables, some images. So accordingly, from the top to bottom, it arranges those elements on the screen. Suppose we have passed some styling to the elements for the color, size, and these things. So these are the part of the CSS to how to design the web page. So these things. So if styles files are getting linked to that HTML file, so it will add that design to that particular elements. Then the behavior, the interactivity, okay, the features that is being controlled by the JavaScript. Like on clicking, it should add a new element to list item, for example. It should hide that element, should show toggling and all those things. So these are the examples. So how to control the interactivity with that. So we have HTML plus CSS. It is for the designing. Okay, so HTML structures and then the CSS that adds the designing to that element. Similarly, we have HTML with JavaScript. It simply add the interactivity to the element and all those, I mean, kind of actions it adds to the element. So we have some modern frameworks and libraries that we have, like the React and Angular, Vue.js, these things. So that dynamically updates the DOM, okay, without refreshing the page. So these are the features of a single page application, okay. This is some advanced thing that you will learn in future. So let's understand from a basic example. Here I have just created a simple HTML file, okay. So this is the doc type declaration and this is the root HTML tag, you see. Inside of that, we have the head tag, which contains the metadata and the title of that. And here's the body, in which whatever the content that you have written, that is visible on the main screen in the browser. So if I load this page, it will seems like this, okay? So the content that I have added in the body, that is the h1 tag with the hello and HTML. So this is being getting rendered here. And the introduction, the title that I have passed here, right here. So this is the basic HTML file that I have created. And you can also check this source page, okay? The same HTML content you will see here. The same HTML file that I have created. So let's understand the feature of HTML. It is easy to learn. So it's all about tags. Let me be very clear with it. Structure our web page. Okay. It is compatible with different browsers. It has multimedia capability. We can add images, videos, sounds, audio, these things. Okay. And we can combine with the CSS and JavaScript for styling and the interactivity. And it has some semantic tag as well, like the header, footer, section. Okay, these. So we will see these semantic tags in there. So basic structure of any HTML document. Every HTML files start with a doc type. So it is basically for how you write an HTML code. So we start with the doc type declaration. So which HTML version we are using. Then we use the HTML tag. That is the root of any HTML document. Then we add the head tag that contains the meta tag, metadata, and titles, links, CSS, and JavaScript, these files. Then we have the body section, the visible content. I already told you whatever the part inside the body tag that exactly is visible that you see in the web browser. So we have different types of HTML elements. There are structural elements, so that defines the layout. We have different sections in a web page. For example, if you see, suppose you have a web page, and if you check, so there's a header, there's a footer, there's a side section, and there's a main section. Okay, so this is the header. So this is the basic structure of an HTML element. We have inline elements that styles the part of a text like strong, emphasis. So these things like italics, bold. So span tag also. So that do not takes the full width of the browser of the screen. Okay, where there are some block level elements takes the full width like div, p tag, these things. There is also some self-closing tags that we do not need any closing tag. For example, we have the image, so it is a self-closing tag. We have BR, that is break line. So we do not need any closing tag for these elements. So this is the introduction part. I try to let you understand the foundation of the HTML. Why do we need it? What exactly it does? How it renders in the browser? How it works in the browser? How it loads in the browser? So in the next lecture, we will understand the doc type declaration, okay, the different versions of HTML, these things. Thank you.